you're here. You have arrived at the right place. 5 steps to launch, relaunch, or relight digital giving. Going to get you on track to beat your budget this summer. If you are just joining us, go ahead and tell us who you are and where you are and put it in the chat stream. Aaron Johnson is going to be in the chat stream today working it. If you've got a digital giving question, I want you to put it in there. We will answer 100% of the questions in the chat box at the end of the webinar. We're going to move quick, so please watch, please listen, please pay attention, please put your text messages away, get something out to take notes. We're going to give you a free resource just for being here called How to Talk to Your Church Board About Digital Giving. I'm sure nobody has to do that, but just in case you do, we're going to make sure you've got a resource and you know what you're doing when you talk to them. Who's this webinar for? Well, there's a couple different churches. Maybe your church A, you haven't launched digital giving at all. You've thought about it, you've gotten close to the fire, but you haven't touched it, and you know you need to. Maybe your church B, you've launched, but it's not having really a true impact on your actual operating budget. You're frustrated, you're wondering why. We're going to tell you why, and we're going to get you on the right track. And maybe your church C, you've started it, you were rocking and rolling, and now you've stalled out, and you're wondering what's going on. Let's get the engine and the wheels turning. That's what we're going to do. I'm so excited about today because what we talk about is important. You know, churches need roofs. They need to send out missionaries. They need to hire pastors. They need to do all kinds of ministry. They all have ministry. Here's the thing. Every church leader I talk to, they've all got ministry dreams. 100% of the church leaders that we interact with have ministry dreams. But guess what? It takes money to chase ministry dreams. Roofs aren't free. You can't hire people for free. You can't send out missionaries for free. You need money from ministry. Digital giving can absolutely change the financial landscape of your church. So I'm pumped. If you've been a part of one of these webinars before, I'm going to give you all I got. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be fired up because we're passionate about it. I carbo loaded today at lunch. I literally ate an entire bowl of spaghetti today at lunch about 12:30 Eastern time. It's hitting me right now, and I'm ready to go. We're going to cover 5 things today. It's 5 steps to launch, relaunch, or relight digital giving. And there's 5 things you need to know. And we've got T's beside all of them. Take, target, timing, tech, and talk. Okay, and we're going to finish this webinar with a spring into summer rocket donations offer that is absolutely out of this world. It's a little crazy. Get out something to take notes with. Let's go. We're going to move fast. This is a no excuses zone. All right. Who wants to beat budget this summer? Put a 1 into the chat stream if you want to beat budget this summer. Let's talk. I want you to decide right now that you're going to put into action what you hear. It's a no excuses zone. Today, what you learn, commit right now to putting it into action, the principles that we teach. We're going to give you a 5-step action plan for digital giving. Number 1, take inventory of your current digital giving situation, whether you need to launch for the first time, whether you need to relaunch, whether you need to relight. Take inventory of where you are right now. That's step number 1 to getting on track to beating your budget this summer. Take inventory where you are. When I ask churches, hey, tell me about digital giving. Why did you start it? Why are you thinking about starting it? These are vague answers, right? Well, it seems like young people like it. Seems like we need to reach them. Yeah, we got a few active givers on there. Hey, we rolled it out a while back. We knew we needed it. We've got really cool features. We've got a good processing rate. All that kind of stuff. Those are vague answers. What I'm saying when I ask you to take inventory of where you are, I'm saying, no, seriously, what are your numbers? I don't mean vague things like this. I mean, what are your numbers when it comes to digital giving? What numbers, you ask? Well, here's 3 really important numbers that I want you to figure out if you don't know them. You should know them off the top of your head. If you don't, that's okay. Figure them out because they're important, okay? They're signposts. They are landmarks for your digital giving health and where you are and where you need to go. Number 1, what's your total budget? Okay. Number 2, how much of your total budget is coming in via digital right now? Number 3, how much of the digital donation base is actually recurring? Recurring means scheduled, committed, like you know right now that it's coming in what, 3 days on Sunday, okay? That's what recurring means. So total budget number, how much of your budget is coming in via digital? How much of the digital that's coming in is actually scheduled and recurring versus one time, okay? Other numbers you need to know to actually take inventory, our first step to getting on the right track with digital giving. Other numbers, how many total donors do you have, also known as a giving unit, okay? And then what is the average tithe amount per giving unit or per donor? Okay, I'm going to put those two up again if you need it. Total budget, percent of budget coming in via digital, percent of digital that is scheduled and recurring. If you don't know it, figure it out. Very, very important. Two other numbers to help you actually take inventory. How many total donors do you have? Average tithe amount. Until you take inventory, you can't really know which way to go. You can't make progress until you know where you are. People ask us all the time, church leaders, what's the most important number when it comes to digital? Without question, it is recurring. It is scheduled, committed percentage of your total budget and of your total digital giving as well. That's the most important number. I challenge people on every single webinar that the true test of your financial strategy as a church is the middle of summer. All I mean by that is if I took Christmas Eve service and offering away from you all, right now, studies show that only 14% of churches on average beat their budget every year. Beat it, okay? Go past it. If we took away Christmas, there'd be a lot of churches in big, big trouble. So what I'm saying is that recurring donations are 100% the most important number, not just in the digital giving conversation, but in all of conversations when it pertains to financial strategies. Number one, take inventory of where you are right now. That's the first step. You can't make progress until you know where you are. Number two, target recurring donation growth. Target. Where do you need to improve? Listen, the average church has no target. When I ask a church leader, hey, what's your current recurring donation target? When will you know that it's working for you? And 99% of church leaders have zero answer. It's just, well, we know we need it, right? It's a necessary evil. We know we got a couple people using it. We know the young people like text to give. I'm talking about a target. I'm talking about a number that you are shooting for. Most churches have no target. They have no objectives. They have no direction. And that's why, just so you know, pay attention. If you don't have a target, that's why digital isn't working for you. It's because you have no direction that you're headed. If you don't have a direction, that means you don't have a strategy. If you don't have a strategy, that means when you started, you just did it for the sake of doing it. It's what I call willy-nilly, right? You just kind of did it. And that's why digital giving is not working. It's not a feature problem. It's not an implementation problem primarily. You don't even know what you're supposed to be doing with digital giving. So that's why it's not working for you. You've got to have a target. You've got to have objectives. You've got to have direction. People ask all the time, how do we identify areas for improvement? If I know where I am, I've taken inventory, and now I want to set a target, how do I know what kind of target to set? Well, look at your numbers, okay? The numbers that I hope you're writing down right now. What percentage of your budget right now is digital? What percentage? Write it down, circle it, okay? The other percentage, right, the difference between 100 minus whatever your digital is, that's what's coming from check and cash. You follow? Duh, right? Hey, Sam, thanks. You know, your pasta's doing you good. So what? The so what is this. The average check and cash donor will miss at least 1 or 2 tithes per year. So when it comes to setting a target, you have to set a target that's based on recovering tithes that you're missing because of the instability of checks and cash. Who agrees with me that the average donor is missing at least 1 or 2 tithes per year? 1 or 2 tithes. If you agree with that, put a 1. If you think it's more, put how many you think it is into the chat stream. Okay? Recent polls show it's actually much more. If I say it, you all might pass out and really be in trouble, so I won't say it. 1 or 2 is really, really conservative, okay? So let's just, again, follow me here. What's left over that's not taken in digitally right now, that means you are dependent on checks and cash for those. Aaron says we got lots of 1s. Yes, everybody agrees you're missing 1 or 2 tithes. So you need to figure out, to set a target, how much money could be potentially missing. There's a quick formula to figure it out. Step 1, how many donors do you have? Fill it in. Step 2, pretend each donor misses 2 tithes. Okay, so multiply the above number, which is your number of donors, by 2. Aaron said somebody put in a 9. It's actually once per quarter, easily, just so you know what polls and studies show. Your donors miss 1 tithe per quarter, but we're going to say 2 and be really conservative. Number of donors, step 1. Step 2, assume they each miss 2 tithes, so multiply donors by 2. Step 3, average tithe amount. How much is that? Put it in there, dollar amount. Step 4, multiply steps 2 and 3. That is the potential missing donation number for your church. It's a total shock value. If you're too shocked, cut it in half. You'll still be shocked. It's totally conservative. It's totally down to earth. Let's pretend there's a church with 300 donors. Okay, I've got 300 giving units in my church. Each one misses 2 tithes a year. That's 600 missed tithes. If the average tithe is $300, then the church is missing 600 tithes times $300 each. That's $180,000 in missed tithes. Okay, cut it in half. Let's just say it's $90,000 in missed tithes, if that's better for you. That is what we're talking about. Listen, if half of those donors right here, half of these donors were on a recurring digital donation, the church would recover $90,000 year over year. Is there a roof in there? Is there a youth pastor in there? Is there another pastor? Is there missions in there? 100%. You've got to have a target when it comes to digital giving. You got to take inventory. You got to know where you stand right now, key numbers, no vague notions. I don't want any vagueness anymore. I want numbers from you on where you are. You need to have a number target of where you're going. To have a number target of where you're going, you got to know what you're potentially missing. So I want you to ask yourself again, how much of your budget is dependent on checks and cash or one-time digital gifts, which I will tell you is no different than a check or a cash, to tell you how important recurring donations are. Again, the bottom line is this: however great the percentage of checks and cash is for your church budget, you are leaving tons of money on the table, tons of money. Why do donors miss checks and cash? There's 1,000 reasons, 1,000. Inclement weather, somebody's sick, relative died, sporting events, traveling, vacation, kids are sick, if they're a young family, forgot their checkbook, don't have enough cash, and on and on and on. Donors miss tithes. If you have a heavily dependent budget on checks and cash, I just want you to know you're leaking money Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, or you really think that 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100% of your people prefer to use checks and cash and are consistent, which is totally unreasonable, because statistics show no matter what financial resource you look at, the transactions in our country happen on debit and credit cards. 70 to 80%, some studies show, of all transactions happen on a card, all demographics. Nobody's excluded. None of the older people don't use it. Older demographics don't. Nonsense. They all use it, right? Your people are not writing checks. They're not paying cash every single day in their daily life. They're using cards. I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to say that all your tithes that are non-recurring, including digital, which is going to be a big challenge and make people go, oh, what's he talking about? I'm saying that even one-time digital donations have the same risk as checks and cash. That's how important recurring donations are. Even the precious text-to-givers, and I love, love, love jabbing at text-to-give, also known as the one-timers. We've got text-to-give, okay? So I can jab at it because we've got it, all right? All I mean by that is churches are so infatuated right now by what software companies have told them, and what I'm saying is that a text donation is no different than a check or a cash. Zero difference. It's just an easier way to do it. But what I'm telling you is that if it's not scheduled, if it's not recurring, you have solved no problems for your church. Not to mention, the demographic that will use text is probably 90%. What demographic do you think? Young people. Do they have a lot of money? No. Do they make recurring commitments to anything? No. That's the danger of pushing particular features over a broader, big picture strategy that has a lot of thought behind it. My point is this: all tithes that are non-recurring are at risk to be missed, okay? Simple, simple, simple. How do I set a target? So everybody says, all right, get to it. How do I set a target? Well, let's look at 3 levels, okay? Because I want to give you something really practical. The really big target, really high level, if we're dreaming and we're saying, wow, what could be if I actually change my direction and headed toward emphasizing recurring donations? Well, the really big target is you could cover much, if not all, of your operating budget through predictable recurring donations. That would be like incredible dream come true. That's the big target where we all want to head. The smaller target, we zoom in a little bit more, is just simply to recover a percentage of the money that is currently MIA. All those donations, checks and cash, all your donors missing 2 tithes per year, it's actually more like 3 or 4 or 5 probably, okay? Then what we're talking about is recovering a percentage of that particular money in those donations, okay? And just so you know, we had somebody email in the spring into summer webinar offer. I think the word leaked is coming at the end of this webinar. It is coming, all right? Let's talk about that number in particular, okay? Recovering a percentage of the money that's currently MIA. Just to remind you, that is step 4 from that formula that you just did, okay? So really big picture, dream world. Hey, we know what's coming in. We're covering operating budget. Let's zoom in, all right? Take a step back. Let's get down to earth a little bit. Recover a percentage of the money that's currently MIA. Whatever this number is right here in step 4, okay, whatever this number is, you can recover a portion of this number in the next 6 to 12 months. I don't know what your number is. I don't know if it's 180,000. I don't know if it's $1 million. I don't know if it's 75,000. It doesn't matter. If you recovered half of it, what would it do for your church budget? What could you accomplish? What capital expenses? What staff expenses could you meet right then and there? If you only get people to one-time donations on digital, you are not making the progress you should. I'm going to drill that because it's true. And church leaders, they'll leave webinars and they'll leave education and go back to looking for one-time donations through digital. If you're not getting recurring donations, you're not making the progress that you should or you could. Don't just bucket swap, right? You know what a bucket swap is? It's taking somebody who uses checks, who uses cash infrequently, they still miss 2 or 3 times a year. You say, hey, you can text in a donation. Hey, you can give a one-time donation on our website. And they do nothing different. You just simply changed it from a cash bucket, a check bucket, to a digital bucket. You're not gaining any total donations. That's what we're talking about. Today's target that I want you to leave this webinar with, we're talking about taking inventory and setting a target, right? We're on our T's today. Double your current recurring percentage within 90 days. That is the target that I want you to go and leave this webinar and chase after. I want you to double your recurring percentage, whatever that is. If it's 0%, hey, you can make quick progress. If it's 10%, you can make quick progress. You want to double it in 90 days. What would that do for your church? 90-day goal of doubling your current recurring donation percentage. It is easily doable. What's your recurring donation amount? I want you to take note of that. You should have a page of notes now with numbers all over it. It's like we're in math class. We're talking beautiful mind right now kind of stuff. All right, we all got our Matt Damon going. We've got numbers scribbled all over our offices, and everybody's going to think that you became a mathematician. You haven't. You just have really, we're going to simplify and get down to brass tacks on digital giving, get out of the clouds and all this vague notion, get some numbers and make some progress. If your recurring donation percentage is 15%, your goal is to push it to 30%, double it in the next 90 days, which I want to tell you is very doable if you have a plan. It is not a big jump. We have churches on our program that do it with their eyes closed very quickly in weeks, not months. It's very doable, but I want you to set that 90-day goal. That is your target. That is your target. And we're going to tell you how to go after that target now. You have taken inventory of where you are, right? You have set a target. It is target recurring donation growth. Double your current recurring donation percentage, double it in 90 days. That is the target. Now let's talk about the way to do it, and that is with timing. And the timing is now, okay? And don't gloss over this and roll your eyes and go, oh, of course it's now. Yeah, it is now, okay? Do not be a zero decision 12-month trajectory leader. I talk about this concept all the time. There are leaders who will be in the same place 12 months from now. The same place you are today, you will be there in 12 months for absolutely no good reason whatsoever. How do we know this? Because we talk to these church leaders every day who we talked to 12 months ago. We said the same thing, had the same conversation. They had the same needs and goals financially. They made no decisions, took no actions, put nothing into practice, and they're in the same place and they're frustrated. Do not be that kind of leader. There are 2 things that keep you from moving ahead in digital donations, and actually seeing progress. Two things. Number one, your board and your team. What I call internal naysayers. Not all of them. This isn't a blanket statement. Don't say, oh, look, they're against boards. We love boards. Boards are fantastic. They help guard leaders from making bad decisions. They provide good insight. But sometimes they can be a hindrance in getting people on board and making progress, taking steps forward in digital can be difficult. And there's different personalities when it comes to church boards and church teams and committees and all this kind of stuff. And there's a couple of things that we see when we interact with boards. We see it every day. We see church boards hold back church financial progress every day. We see it. You've got Financial Freddy, okay? And we're having a little fun here, but Financial Freddy is, he works at a bank. He knows all the quote-unquote banking secrets. He knows the secrets behind payment processing, which there are no secrets, Freddie. They make money when they process payments. It's really straightforward. Nobody's got any kind of conspiracy theory here. You got Scared Susan. We've been taking checks and cash for 30 years. It's worked great. Why would we do anything different? Somebody might steal everybody's money off the internet, even though everybody's swiping their cards all day long for gas on Amazon, Black Friday, and on and on and on and on. Somehow in the church space, everybody's scared and money's going to get stolen. We're PCI compliant. Most providers are. Back to the Future Bobby. This is a person who thinks they know exactly what technological feature you have to be successful in digital giving. They're really tech savvy. They're a computer programmer. They're a web designer. They know the facts behind the facts when it comes to all of the features in digital giving. Little effort Linda. This is the person that really doesn't want to make any changes because it might give them more work and they don't really want to do any work. All right. And if you got an objection from your church board that I can talk to and speak to, we've heard it all, seen it all. We interact with around 100 churches a month about digital, okay? We would love to help you get the right mindset and be able to talk to in an intelligent way, in a numbers-based way with your church board, with your team. Here's what you need to understand. Digital giving is actually really, really, really simple. Very, very simple. The way to get your board and your team to buy in and want to make forward progress is the numbers. They've got to know the numbers. That's why I'm saying, and I start out the webinar by talking about these vague notions. Well, we think we need it. We know we need it. Young people like it. None of that matters. You have to show your board the actual numbers. And by numbers, you say, what numbers? All the numbers we've been talking about, right? How dependent you are on checks and cash. Hey, board, hey, team, we're taking in 80% of our budget check and cash, right? Every single study in financial research, even our own daily lives, show there's no way that this is good for us because we know our people are using cards everywhere else in everyday life. We've got to recognize habits and not be stubborn. They've got to see the numbers. I said there's two things keeping you from moving forward. One is your board and your team. You got to get them on board and moving ahead. Number two, you are overcomplicating digital. You are overcomplicating digital. Let's go evaluate 3 to 5 vendors and get 3 quotes. Hey, listen, I'll just tell you right now, everybody offers the same features. They're a dime a dozen. PayPal's been around since I was like in elementary school, and you could buy stuff on eBay. Payment processing online is not new. There are a million features under the sun. All major providers all have the same thing. So you don't have to go and evaluate 100 providers, 100 vendors to make a really simple decision. Hey, let's see if we can save 1% on payment processing. Let's go look at 3 new vendors. You're overcomplicating it. 1% on $100,000 of donations is $1,000. It's $1,000, everybody. Listen, this is important. All right, that's $1,000. You say, what do you mean? It's not that big a deal. What I'm saying is you've got to have a big picture when it comes to digital. And this is why so many of you are held back. What about the check and cash amount that's totally MIA? Remember step 4, that amount that you wrote down? That's what you've got to go after, not $1,000 by wasting another 90 days evaluating all these vendors to save $1,000. It's crazy. It's the reason why you're not making progress in digital, right? I just hate we're going to lose money on processing fees. You're not going to lose money on processing fees. You're going to make money, all right? And you say, hey, that sounds like fuzzy math. It's not. Listen, if Joe Donor misses 2 times per year at $300 each, how much have you missed for the year? $600 is gone, all right? It's bye-bye. You're not getting it, okay? If Joe Donor is on a recurring donation, the processing fees for the year are $112. In case you're looking at the math, what I'm saying is you missed $600 last year on Joe Donor. Now he's on a recurring donation. Processing fees are $112 for the year. You have gained $488 on one donor, all right? So multiply that by your donor base. You are not losing money on processing fees, okay? Here's another reason that you're holding yourself back. We got to make sure we got every single feature out there, every single feature that is possible. Listen, software companies have sold you all, okay? Rocket Company has been in business for over a decade. We've served 10,000 churches across our modules. Churches are classic for being sold by software companies. They're classic for it. You're overcomplicating digital. You don't have to have one particular feature that's going to make or break your strategy. It's crazy. Don't overcomplicate it. You will not outsmart digital, okay? Digital has already outsmarted all of us, right? Checks and cash are a thing of the past, right? And I didn't even plan that. Checks and cash are a thing of the past. They're not being used like they used to. Digital is what it is. You have to accept it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overanalyze it. It's really simple. People are using their cards for everything. Give them an avenue to do it, and we'll talk about some more things. But the time to start is now. You know, summer is basically 8 weeks away. Digital can be launched. You can have a system in place, ready to take donations in 48, 72 hours. Sometimes we talk to church leaders, and you know, we don't know what they're thinking. They've got all these plans, this giant checklist, all these matrices, and they're going to interview 5 companies, all this stuff. Like, this is crazy. This is the simplest platform you could get moving in 48, 72 hours, 2 to 3 business days. You could be launched. If you wanted to, you could take donations this Sunday, as in like 3 days from now, if you just take action. Digital giving is very, very simple. And so I tell every leader, I challenge them, there's no excuses for not launching digital. Just launch it or relaunch it if you've stalled out. Relight it if you've stalled out. Call a meeting. Sound the gong. Give the battle cry. Show them the numbers, okay? Not passions, not here's what I think, and young people like this, and all this stuff that just doesn't matter. It's simply about numbers. Show it to your team. Sound the gong and go get the target. And remember, the target, double your recurring donation percentage in 90 days. Extremely, extremely doable. You'll probably exceed it if you just try. Number 1, today, 5 steps we're talking about. Number 1, take inventory. Number 2, target. Set a target so you know where you need to improve, what you're going for. Number 3, timing is everything, and the time is now. Stop waiting. Take action and change the financial landscape of your church through this powerful tool, digital giving. I'm going to take a sip of water. If this is helping you so far, give me a 1, please, in the actual box. Give a 1. I'm sipping water and I'm coming back. This is Tony Horton right here. So you ask, what do we need to do to be successful in digital giving? Hey, you've told us to take inventory. We've done it. We've set a target. We know what's holding us back. We're not going to let it hold us back anymore. We know the time is now. What do we need to do to be successful? Step 4. You need technology that works, okay? Technology that people will use. Notice I didn't say technology that wows, okay? And this will hopefully help a lot of you just move ahead and stop trying to become Google or Apple. You don't need to be Steve Jobs, or you don't need to be the guy at Tesla, Elon Musk. This is digital giving, okay? You're not launching NASA in your church. It's really, really simple. You just need technology that works. Here's just a quick outline, okay? Basic digital giving features that you need to make it happen. Basic ones. This is bare bones. If you just had the stuff in white, I'm just telling you, you can absolutely blow it out of the water with just the stuff in white. A cloud-based application, all that means is you have no CD-ROM you're installing, okay? They can just go to it on the web. It's accessible from any browser on the web. It's web-based. You take any major credit card, any major debit card, ACH. It's accessible from any mobile device, and it syncs up with your CRM, your customer relationship management system, right? PowerChurch, F1, CCB, QuickBooks, Excel sheet, doesn't matter what it is. The stuff in white, listen to me very, very closely. Okay, we interact with 100 churches a month. We've seen it all. I've seen churches with every feature in white and red and 5 more that are dying on the vine. Features mean nothing if you are not implementing. The stuff in white is essential. You've got to have it. The stuff in red, it's optional. Text to give, we've got it, but it's optional. You don't have to implement text to give to make digital work, okay? Take a deep breath. Online forms for events, it's optional. We've got it. You don't have to have it. Option for the donor to cover the processing fees, we've got it. It's optional. You don't have to have it, okay? You can still make progress and double your recurring in 90 days. You can build out an online store and put books and CDs in there. It's optional. We've got it. You don't have to have it. You don't have to utilize it. Kiosks, it's optional. You don't have to have it. Kiosks probably aren't even going to exist in 24 months, everybody. Guess what the new kiosk is? Take a wild guess. Mobile phones, right? That's the new kiosk. In fact, I will tell you that some churches struggle to get recurring donations because they've got a big giant kiosk in their lobby, and so everybody feels obligated to wait in line. And guess what you do when you swipe your card? You swipe it one time like you're checking out at the yogurt shops. No different, okay? It's not going to help you get recurring donations. Optional, compatible with your church app, which we are, or building a new app. It's optional. You don't need those things. They're great. They're fine. They're well. What I'm trying to tell you is that simplicity is everything. I will tell you one thing that we see all the time. None of your donors should have to log in to give a donation, okay? Nobody. You've got to optimize your technology platform, your giving platform, for the donor, not for you. What do I mean by that? If you're using one because it's inside your CRM and you want everything nice and tidy, you don't want to put any effort in, you are creating a ceiling for your people that is extremely low. What you've done is you put yourself and your admin at the top front of the list priority, not your donor. I'm just telling you, if they've got to log in or do anything like that, you are absolutely missing the boat. Tons of people will not participate. I would never use a system like that. Don't have time for it. It's just not a part of the way people interact with technology. Don't overthink technology. Don't overthink it. Look at this white list right here. This is as simple as it is, okay? Simplicity is everything. Do not overthink the technology. Do not let Back to the Future Bobby convince you that you have to have blank. If you have a feature in your head that you put in that line right there, you're already losing the battle in digital giving. You've already missed the big picture. You're already not making the progress that you should. The features will not solve it for you. Back in the day, when Rocket Donations was version 1.0, we were taking churches with tons and tons and tons of features, putting them on a simpler platform. They were blowing it out of the water. And doubling, tripling, quadrupling their year-over-year giving. Number one, take inventory. Number two, target, set a target. Number three, the time is now. Number four, you got to have technology that works. Simplicity is everything. Number five, talk about it with your people. And we're almost done with our webinar. Talk about it with your people and to your people. You've got to talk about digital giving. You have to communicate to your givers. You got to talk about it in three ways. This is the most important thing I'll say on the entire webinar, just so you know. The most important, hands down. You have to communicate about your digital platform consistently, as in you've got to have a communication calendar, just like you got a diet plan, a workout plan, a preaching plan, a financial meeting plan, a board plan where you have stuff on the calendar. You got to talk about digital consistently. You've got to talk about it using different channels, as in not just the offering plate, which reaches about 40% of people on average, okay? So you might be missing 70% right there. And you can't just communicate through offering plate and year-end letters. You've got to talk about it through different channels, all right? You've got to also talk about recurring donations specifically, all right? As in you have to ask people to consider giving in a way that is specific instead of one-time donations. I was listening to NPR this morning. I was flipping around the channels. Up comes NPR. It's the first thing I hear. Please consider making a recurring commitment to our radio station so that we can plan effectively. Even they get it. Even they get it. It's so simple. You can't plan. You can't be as effective as you want if you don't have recurring donations, but you have to ask people to give in that way, okay? Again, three principles of communication. You've got to talk about it consistently, number one. You got to talk about it in different channels, number two. You've got to talk about it specifically recurring donations, okay? Number one, our 5 steps in review, take inventory. Number two, set a target. Number three, the time is now. Number four, you just need technology that works. That's it. Simplicity is everything. Number 5, talk about it with your people. You have to find a partner in digital giving, not a vendor. You've got to. Many of you are with vendors. We want to be your partner, and we're not a vendor, and I'm going to prove it. I'm going to tell you what the difference is between a partner and a vendor. Rocket Donations, our actual online giving platform, takes ACH. We take major credit cards, major debit cards, We're mobile enabled on all platforms. We have text to give. You can customize funds as much as you want. You can give to multiple funds on one donation. We got online forms for special events. We got the option for donors to pay the processing fee. You can build out an online store. We've got automatic sync integrations with F1, Shelby, CCB, Power Church, Servant Keeper, the City, ACS, Helpmate, and every single one out there, okay? But we also have something called Spark, okay? Spark is the X factor. It's what makes somebody a partner, not a vendor. A vendor is, here's a quarter, here's your technology, good luck, right? That's a vendor. A partner is somebody who, on an ongoing basis, equips you, coaches you, gives you resources to actually win the battle and achieve all the steps that we talked about today, especially doubling recurring donations in 90 days. To do that, you've got to communicate. Spark is the X factor. Spark includes sermon notes, sermon slides, giving talks, professionally produced slides, visuals, videos, emails, letters, ministry resource guides, and we do this 5 times per year for the life of your account. And we have a concierge who is a guide that will tell you and give you a calendar on how to use these resources. You've got to communicate, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to pause my screen for just a second, and I'm going to actually pull up Spark because I want you to see it. It's such an incredible tool and will help you absolutely make progress in your digital donations. Spark is an actual launch campaign. It includes coaching videos for church leadership. It includes pre-campaign letters, pre-campaign emails. It includes commitment cards, all types of resources just to get your strategy actually off the ground. We've had churches that have got some of the largest one-time donations in the history of the church before the campaign, before digital giving even launched. So that's what Spark is first and foremost. We can also migrate you over if you have an existing platform with existing users. But what we also give you 5 times a year is we give you all the resources I just mentioned. Remember our communication principles? Consistency, which is why we do seasonal communication. Number 2 principle, you've got to communicate through different channels, right? Giving Plate only reaches about 40% of people. So you've got slides, you've got giving talks, multiple emails, multiple sermon notes, sermon slides. You've even got professionally produced videos that are themed for the season. Hey, listen, let me just blow your mind with something. Recurring donations, most recurring donations don't happen on Sunday morning in a 5-minute window, right? Most recurring donations happen when people have a chance to think about it, talk about it with their spouse, make a decision, and they go on their computer and they make a recurring donation. I mean, how about that? You think people are making recurring commitments, husband and wife, via text on a Sunday morning 3-minute window? No way. What's my point? You've got to communicate through different channels so you reach people at different times so that not everybody's just responding at the offering plate. It's the way that it is. So what Spark is 5 times a year, we give you all these resources to communicate with donors consistently through different channels. We coach you how to do it. We give you a roadmap on where to go. We give you a mix of resources so that you can reach people in different times, different places, depending on the season. We do that 5 times a year. That's what Spark is. That's what makes us a partner and not a vendor. It's not just about launching digital, okay? Digital giving, the magic happens after 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 3 years, 5 years, when you follow the strategy and you are reaching the big goals. Remember I said 3 goals? We zoomed in, zoomed in, zoomed in. 90 days, you can make a lot of progress quick. Then what, right? Then what? That's for a lot of some churches we talk to. Maybe that's where you're at. You've made some progress, but you're like, okay, now what? You need ongoing strategy, which is what we give you. Church leaders say, we know we need this, but it's not our thing. Hey, we get it. That's why we created Spark. We're not a software company. We've been coaching churches to financial success for over a decade. We get it. That's why we made Spark. A digital giving solution is technology plus communication. 95% of churches have a technology vendor that gave them technology, and that's it. And that's why they struggle. And again, they made that decision based on all types of very, very small picture, narrow reasons why they just chose that vendor. Now, big question, what does it cost? Rocket Donations and Spark. The Rocket Donations online digital giving platform, all the features I mentioned without any exception, it's $5,000 annual technology value. You pay $99 per month for everything, $99 per month. Spark, everybody says 5 times a year for the life of your account. It's got to be expensive. $7,500 in annual coaching value. If you know our other modules, we're giving these to you basically 5 times a year, focused on digital, all the channels that I mentioned, year after year for life. $7,500, you pay one-time startup of $499. It is not annual. I repeat, it is not an annual cost, before somebody asks. But we have a spring into summer webinar promotion because we want people that want to take action right now. You're willing to say, hey, listen, now is the time for change. Now is the time. I'm at the same place where I was 12 months ago. Great question to ask yourself. Has your digital giving landscape changed in the past quarter, the past 6 months, the past 9, 12 months? We want action takers who can make changes right now and see the difference. Our spring into summer webinar offer, Rocket Donations online digital giving platform, it's $5,000 annual technology value. It's normally $99 a month. Guess what? It's $49 per month for your first entire year, which is $600 in annual savings for your first year. $49. Let me just wow you with this. All right, all the pasta I ate earlier is I'm just pumped right now because Spark, which is $7,500 in annual value, and it is the absolute X factor to making digital giving work. Instead of $499, it is $0. $0, okay? That's free, in case you are asking. It is included in the summer webinar offer. This offer is good until 5 o'clock on Monday. It is 10 churches. We did a webinar about, I don't remember, 3 or 4 weeks ago, something like that, and they sold out by 9 o'clock tonight. That's how fast they sold out. It's 10 churches, first come, first serve. It's good till 5 on Monday. If you need to call a team meeting, you need to get your board together, do it. Call the meeting. SparkDonations.com. SparkDonations.com. I'm going to answer questions in just a minute. Rocket Donations reduced to $49 for your first entire year when you sign up on this promotion, SparkDonations.com. Spark, normally $499. It's $7,500 of value. It's $0 today, no charge, and it's 5 times a year for the life of the account. What if I'm already with a vendor? Switch. It's really easy. You just switch, okay? It's about making progress, okay? If you're locked in some kind of contract, at least email us and let's talk about it. Sign up if you want to. If you're ready to make that change, sign up. We'll talk to you about your contract. Email Aaron, E-R-I-N, at therocketcompany.com, sparkdonations.com. Guess what? We've got some bonuses that you're going to want to see that are pretty exciting. First come, first serve, 10 churches, sparkdonations.com. We have added a success coaching program. You sign up on this promotion, we do a monthly coaching call. It's recorded in case you missed it. Rocket Company key leaders talk about digital giving trends. We do Q&A, just like we're doing right now. You can ask a million questions. You want help? You want extra attention? You want white glove attention on your digital giving strategy? We'll give it to you. That call happens each month. It's a part of our success coaching program. Insiders only. Sign up today, sparkdonations.com. It is included. Until 5 o'clock today, 10 churches, first come, first serve. You've got Rocket Donations online digital giving platform, normally $99. It's $49 per month for the first entire year. Spark, normally $499. It's $0. Rocket Donations, the success coaching program, it is real people, real leaders, about $3,600 a year in terms of hours that we're going to pour into this, in prep, in calls, in follow-up. You pay $0. Okay, sparkdonations.com, our fast action bonus for churches that sign up today by 9 o'clock. We're going to give you a resource, actually 2 of them. Number 1, we're going to give you 39 things every pastor should know. And then we're also going to give you Know the Numbers, broke-proof system for budget reporting, bookkeeping, and leading finance teams. That's our fast action bonus. If you sign up by 9 o'clock Eastern time today, you can see a summary of the offer. It's available at sparkdonations.com. Take action. It's first come, first serve, 10 churches, good until Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern time. The fast action bonuses are till tonight at 9. But the offer of $49 and $0 startup, lifetime access for Spark, it can be implemented in approximately 2 to 3 business days, sometimes even faster, right? As fast as you want to implement, we want you to implement, all right? I'll tell you that. You want to move fast? We'll move fast. That's how quickly we can implement it. SparkDonations.com. The cost to get started today is only $49. There's a summary of the spring into summer Rocket donations offer exclusive to this webinar. We're going to answer questions in just a second that have been asked from the webinar early on. Aaron, if there are any, text them over to me. Sparkdonations.com. The cost to get started today is only $49. Somebody asked us last time, what if all the spots are taken by Monday? They're gone. It's first come, it's first served. It will fill up. Don't wait. Sparkdonations.com. There is a summary right there. Let's answer some questions, and let's talk about digital giving even further. I will stay here as long as you want to ask questions. I will stay and answer any question you have about digital giving. We have heard it all. We have seen it all. Okay, some questions on the offer. Yes, we work in Canada for sure. We do work in Canada. We can have it implemented. I see that question. I kind of answered that, but quickly, right? 2 to 3 days on average, sometimes faster if you want to move fast. How much is the second year? $99 is the second year. Let's go up. I'm going to review some other ones. Somebody asked about ACH. Are you asking that for Canada? That is included in all United States services. If you're in the States, absolutely, we offer ACH. It's a part of our offering. I'm going to answer some other questions up top, and we are going to send out the recordings. Somebody asked about that. Yes. Objections. Let's talk about what your board is saying. People feel like we're always asking for money. Anybody ever get that? People feel like you're always asking for money. Let me tell you a principle that you need to learn and your team needs to learn. And what your team needs to know is that if you feel like you're always asking for money, it's probably because you don't talk about money enough. That probably sounds counterintuitive, but right, the most awkward topics in church are the ones you talk about the least. You've got to talk about it more consistently, and you've got to tie it to a season like, hey, here's our fall goals. Look at after school program. We've got this going on. We've launched missionaries, and this is why we need donations. When you tie it to purposes within a season, people actually will respond. Somebody asked about the offer. Does it cover the monthly processing? Our monthly processing fees are real simple, 2.99% plus 30 cents for each transaction, $3.30. For ACH, it is 0.5%. I'll repeat it. All major credit cards, all cards is 2.99% plus 30 cents per transaction. If I give $100, $3.30 comes out for processing. The illustration earlier for Joe Donor is exactly what I just said. Using those numbers, ACH, which is automatic clearinghouse, or just kind of like a wire transfer, is half of a point, 0.5%. Do not overanalyze processing. If I have one more church try to save a half of a percent and go sign up with, Bob and Sally's processing out of Anchorage, Alaska, I'm going to go crazy. The big number is all that matters. You are bleeding check and cash money. You can recover a tremendous portion with the right platform. And by that, I mean communication, period. Nobody offers communication in this space. Software companies have no clue how to communicate about giving. That's what we do. Can a donor pay for processing? Yes, the donor can pay for processing. We absolutely have that option. Do we integrate with CCB? Yes. Power Church? Yes. All of them. Listen, automatic syncs are just commonplace, okay? What we mean is any of the activity that happens in Rocket Donations every hour is automatically sent to your CRM, Power Church, CCB, F1, Shelby, ACS, Servant Keeper, the city, and on and on and on and on, all of them. It's an automatic process. It is not manual. It is not export manually. It is not import manually. It's automatic, all right? That is the best way to understand it. Do you have a plan in place for people to migrate over to your platform? 100%, yes. That's why I said earlier, people will say, hey, I'm already with the provider. And our response is, so switch. If it's not working and you're missing money and you're leaving money on the table, why are you staying? Make the change, find a partner, and go with it, okay? To make that change so you don't lose momentum, we have what's called a migration campaign. When you change providers, I want you to understand this. Listen for a second. It's not as if you flip a switch one Sunday and flip the other one, and you have no room for error. to get existing digital users to migrate over, okay? It's a process, 2 to 4 weeks on average. We give you pre-written communications. You send out a series of communication. All the existing users will be the first to migrate over. It's very easy, okay? And by the way, you're going to get those users to go on the new platform and give on a recurring basis. You will pick up immediate recurring donations during migration period. Some leaders are afraid of the migration period. It's actually one of the most exciting and easy times to get low-hanging fruit with people who are giving online, but they're not giving on a recurring basis. Migrate them over, tell them, hey, we want you to give on a recurring basis. You send out our Spark communications, boom, you're going to get recurring donations immediately. So you migrate people over 2 to 4 weeks, however long it takes. Then you launch it to everybody. Then you make the full transition, okay? There is plenty of margin and breathing room. It's not a do or die situation on a Sunday, all right? So migration is very normal. We do it every single week, no problem. What does our monthly fee cover, I'm assuming, is the question. What does our monthly fee cover? Well, let me go back. Our monthly fee covers everything that I showed you in this webinar. Our monthly fee covers the Rocket Donations digital giving platform. I'm just going back. Everything is included, as you see right here. All of the technology features are included at the $99 price. Of course, our promotion until Monday, 5 Eastern, is $49, basically a 50% reduction for your first entire year. But everything's included. What does it cover? Covers everything. There's nothing left out. Okay, nothing is left out. Spark, right? It's usually $4.99 one time, not annually, not seasonally, not quarterly. One time, okay? One time. It is free when you sign up today. It is all included 5 times a year. All the content I showed you, nothing is excluded from the program that I showed you at the price, okay? What other questions do we have? Do we sync with church windows? We sync with every single platform out there. If there is a platform that we do not sync with, then we will write a new script or a new code, not to sound too techie and too computer language here, but our team can set up an automatic sync with your program. Does not matter what it is. Every church feels like their situation is so unique. You have to understand, we deal with tons and tons of churches. We work with everybody in all different places, all shapes and sizes, big churches with thousands and thousands, church plants that have 40 people, churches of all different sizes and all different CRMs, all different setups, all different accounting practices. We can work with your situation. It is not hard. Your situation is not all that unique. We promise we just do it a lot, and we'll make the transition. To what I said at the beginning of the call, you got to take action. You can come up with 50 excuses to not take action and improve the digital giving and make progress. Do not overcomplicate digital giving. We are not developing NORAD and NASA here to defend the country. Yes, we work with QuickBooks, every single one, okay? Nobody's excluded. I don't care which one you're on. I don't care if you've been in it this morning. We can write an integration. We can write an automatic sync, okay? This is not NASA protect the planet Earth from a missile crisis here, all right? This is digital giving. Remember what I said. Don't overcomplicate it. Very simple, very straightforward. You can launch in 2 to 3 days, easy, and get rolling. Any other questions that you have, go ahead and put them in the chat box. I'm scrolling up to see what I got. Somebody said we can't ask our people for more money. They're giving all they can. Hey, that's tough. So like I said earlier, if you're asking tied to a season and tied to specific goals, people will give. We get this question every single webinar. What about people who want to give something tangible, like a check they write, an envelope or something like that? Yeah, we get it. You know, our answer is really, really simple. The tangible expression does not mean the heart's in the right place. It's just simply the vehicle. People use their cards for everything in life. It doesn't mean that it can't be worship. It can't, do all those things at all, is our opinion. Church app, somebody's asking. We do not have an app. We can integrate with your current church app. We do not build you an app from the ground up. We are mobile enabled, just so we're all really clear, which is the same thing as having an app, just so you know, zero difference. And I want you to challenge you on apps and even text to give and even kiosks and even mobile enabled, which most of those features we have. I am telling you, the more you push features, your people will get feature addicted. Listen to me. They will get feature addicted, and we've got them, okay? So I'm not saying this as like, we don't have text to give, we're not mobile enabled, we don't have kiosk. We've got it. What I'm telling you is that if you push technology because you think that everybody wants an app, it will backfire on you. Specifically, you will not get recurring donations. I'm just telling you straight up, so you know on the front end, if you push features. Now, what I always ask churches when they're hung up on text to give, my question's really simple. When they're hung up on apps, my question's real simple, and I want you to write it down if you're still taking notes. The question is, what data do you have that tells you that you need this feature to be effective? What data? And saying, well, apps seem so easy. I'm telling you, I'm asking you, what data do you have? What bills do you pay via text today? Yourself. What bills do you pay? None. People do not pay bills and engage financially via text. If they do, it is a less than 2 or 1% of transactions. It's actually, we checked on before our last webinar, it is less than 1% of transactions, financial transactions, happen through apps and text. Telling you the pitfall is when you roll out text to give and you act like it's cool, everybody's going to jump all over it. They're going to donate one time. They're all going to be feature addicted, and you're going to be absolutely miserable. Do not overanalyze the features. Same thing with an app. What bills are you paying with apps? Nothing. iTunes, right? Occasional things here and there. You're not making serious financial commitments, recurring commitments via apps. It's not happening. Again, software companies have sold churches that text to give and things like apps and things like mobile enabled have hung the moon, and they're going to change your financial future, and they won't at all. It's just an easy sell. It's easy to see how cool it is, and it is. They're cool. It's cool to text in a donation, but you don't need it. It can actually backfire on your strategy 100%. Any other questions before we finish up today? Hey, this has been awesome. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for the questions. If you got something out of today, go ahead and put a 1 in there and thank Erin Johnson, the person who has been running. She's the MC. She is the one who absolutely takes control of these webinars. And so I thank Erin, and thank you all for your time and being here. SparkDonations.com. The offer is good until Monday at 5 Eastern Time. $49 for your first year. 0 startup. Spark is for life. Success coaching program is included. Our fast action bonus, 39 things every pastor should know, and know the numbers. You pay absolutely nothing. Thank you again for your time. This was absolutely fantastic being here with you. We'll do another webinar very, very soon. SparkDonations.com. We will leave the screen up for just a bit if you want to reference it, but we're going to go ahead and close down the audio. Thanks again for your time. SparkDonations.com. Take care.